But it's time for a change. Got time to be serious, no time for no games. Ain't taking no more, let us go for them chains. God bless they soul, every one of them names. It's bigger than black and white. It's a problem with the whole way of life. It can't change overnight. But we gotta start somewhere. Might as well go ahead, start here. We done had a hell of a year. I'ma make it count while I'm here. God is the only man I fear.
I had seen it around May 30th.
I don't remember the exact day that I watched it.
I actually didn't watch the video of George Floyd's murder in its entirety. I remember when the video came out, I would just see screen caps of the video, and obviously, it was a really big deal because it was circulating. And I think because the video itself was so long, and the fact that you see really the progression of the point when he's arrested to when he's tackled to the ground, basically to the point to where he loses his life. I think that was the aspect that was so jarring to people. I really didn't want to subject myself to the entirety of the video just because it's so intense and it's really it hurts you.
I was just sick to my stomach.
I was shaking.
I was disgusted.
I was in tears.
But I wasn't surprised because so many things like that have happened before in this country.
It was absolutely awful. My heart went out to his family and to him, and it really opened my eyes to how bad it actually is. I was like, what the hell? What the hell is going on? How is this the America we're supposed to be free in?
Me not being surprised by a video like that is just not the reaction I would want, because that's not something that should be normalized in our society.
It was a lot of anger throughout the day, and it was getting angry at the world and other people, and how people can be so hateful and awful to one another.
Another video that kind of circulated around the same time was the murder of Ahmaud Arbery. So when the video of George Floyd came out, I knew. I knew what had happened already. I didn't feel like I needed to see it.
The Black Lives Matter movement, to me, is basically a movement where a lot of people, and more specifically, Black people, are touching on issues that are happening, that are very prevalent to the Black community in this country. The main one being police brutality.
For me, it's been a lot about learning about privilege.
Okay, so one hand, you could look at it as it is the reclamation by the Black community. And this is not just Black Americans. It is Black Latinos, Black Asian people, Black Indigenous people, who are really fighting back for in a contemporary movement that has not existed since, I would say, the Civil Rights Movement or the Black Panther Party.
With the education that I had in elementary school and throughout high school, racism ended when slavery was abolished. I was like, oh, it's over now. Because we all love each other and it's all good.
But it's really a call to action.
A call to action
to all the non-Black people to understand what the seriousness is of the fact that many Black bodies are killed on a daily basis. And, you have the George Floyds. You have the Ahmaud Arbery's, the Trayvon Martins. But in reality, there's thousands of stories that we have yet to hear, and we will never hear, just because, for whatever reason, society in the United States, and pretty much the world, has not valued Black lives.
It's making aware how we can be, as individuals, we are racist human beings. A movement where people are trying to uplift Black voices, Black businesses, Black people in general.
I consider it to be a really positive movement, solely because of the fact that it has sparked national outrage against these issues that have been happening all over the world.
One of the arguments against it are that all lives matter.
We could say, everybody should be treated equally, all lives matter. But the reality is, it's that right now, they don't.
It's the fact that right now, white lives are being held higher.
We're not saying that Black lives matter more, it's just that they have to matter. Right now in America,
Black
lives aren't really
being
appreciated
or taken care of.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America.
I don't think I can pinpoint one exact moment where I was like, oh, this is still happening.
Racism has affected me in my daily life, in school and work.
I started to notice, those, racial differences when we kind of reach, that puberty age. 5th and 6th grade.
I think my entire life I was aware of it because as an Asian American, I've experienced it. Oh my God. You know that really messed up game kids would play where they would pull their eyes back and be like,
Chinese, Japanese.
it was terrible.
It's not really something that I experience, but I see it.
Because of my race, I'm pretty far removed from it all, which is definitely a form of white privilege.
I wanted to participate in protests, but just for time conflicting reasons, it just didn't work out.
I did. I've been to several protests and even organized a few.
I've been to a few actually. I did attend one walking protest in my community. I helped create another protest in my community. I did the fundraiser for that with a fundraiser I did at my house. It was cool. Yeah, we raised $400 for that fundraiser, which was fun.
My job was publicity, so I had to email a lot of news stations. They did show up to a couple of protests, which was amazing because publicity is what we really want, to shed light on these terrible, tragic issues.
A lot of people gained criticism for organizing protests in the midst of the pandemic. But if you really see the measures that were taken, the safety measures, to ensure that a lot of people were following guidelines,
There was social distancing, there were masks, there are precautions in place to make sure that people don't get sick.
We're in a global pandemic, and seeing people come together to protect our Black communities and to exercise their First Amendment right is just such amazing because, that shows a lot. How much people genuinely care about this.
I think it's helped a lot because it's being kept in the media's eye.
I think the pandemic actually lined up perfectly with this, because I don't think we would have seen the magnitude of protesters had it not been for the fact that many of these people weren't and aren't working still. And, they have a lot of time on their hands, so they can go and fight for what they believe is
Justice! The protests I've attended have gotten a lot of local attention, especially from our principal. He has reached out to the Social Justice Club at school to create a better space for people of color.
I definitely do think the protests have made an impact. George Floyd's officers were arrested solely because of the outrage.
It's one of those things where, yes, it's working, but there's still a lot of work to be done with the petitions and with it still going on.
The police officers were originally created to be slave catchers, runaway slave catchers, right? And obviously they have evolved since then to the police officers we have now. But at the same time, we're not getting any justice. And that's why we say, no justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace.
Because no justice is ever served. Rarely served. I was so surprised when the officers in George Floyd's case were arrested. Because that's not something that actually happens.
no peace.
I feel racial
No
injustice
justice,
has gone on for
no
so
peace.
long because of
No
the history in this
justice,
country.
No peace.
I think that white people are comfortable with their privilege, and that's why it's lasted so long.
It really starts from the ground up.
Change is slow, and it's hard to get everyone on the same page.
Because we live in a white supremacist, patriarchal capitalist society. And as long as we exist in that type of society, we will see racism,
Yeah.
we will see sexism,
Yeah.
we will see homophobia and transphobia.
Yeah. I think that because our government has been predominantly white for a very long time, and it's been white males, old white males, it's something that's not addressed because they're comfortable.
We can try to dismantle the police system and reorganize that, but it's gonna take time. It's not gonna be a one-day type of switch up.
I think the process of undoing it is going to take a long time.
It's hard to say that we will ever outgrow like acts of racism.
There's just so many ignorant people in the world, and while eliminating racism entirely would be great, there's just no way to control how people feel deep down in their hearts.
I do have hope based off people's reactions and how strong everyone's opinions are, and that people are calling each other out and all that.
There are so many young people around me that have shown interest in changing the world in their own ways.
I don't think it's ever going to go away. But I do think that we can try to educate people as much as we can and really just try to focus on the positive side of things. Even though that can be hard.
I don't think racism itself is going to go away. But I think we can at least break into the systems that racism is applied to and change it from within.
I basically have a community around me that I know in the future, when we're old enough to be in charge, that change can and will happen.
Hopefully we get to a point where white privilege isn't a thing.
I still think there's a lot of work to be done when it comes to actually applying. Like again, tackling these institutions and going through that. Because as we saw, there's still, there wasn't justice seen.
I can't breathe. You're taking my life from me. I can't breathe. Will anyone fight for me?
I've learned so much about our country and our society during this time.
I've learned that America has been founded on racism, which is a sad thing to accept, but it's the truth.
A lot of people say that the system failed. The system failed all of these black people that were killed. But we have to understand that the system wasn't. The way the system is created, it wasn't created to benefit black people or people of color.
One of the things that I've definitely learned about myself is that you can talk to people as much as you want, but you're not going to change their minds based off what you say. They have to change themselves in order to, feel that change.
People's colors were really shown throughout this movement.
I've learned that the young people will be the ones that continue to make change.
I just realized that we can accomplish whatever we want if we work hard and spread awareness on these issues.
This time actually did make me think about what other people are going through and how I want to apply that to my own life. And even the people I want to surround myself with. That changed a lot.
One of the things that I learned about myself is just because it didn't apply to me, I didn't really think about it. And I didn't really think that it existed in the way that I know now and how bad it actually is. I was so sheltered from it, which, just shows how much privilege I had from it.
Something that I've learned about myself is that I have a voice.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
I have a voice.
And I shouldn't be scared to use that voice, which I feel I've done to a really great extent. I
will
never stop continuing to use that voice.
voice.
I've learned that I'm very much excited to organize, to make protests happen, to make change happen in small ways, if anything.
I can really accomplish whatever I want if I work hard and have a good group of people by my side helping me.
You can say that you are an activist and that you are fighting for people and their injustices. But, That type of activism, it starts with your own community, with your own circle of friends.
I fight for me with a sign, anytime, anywhere. And I will never back down from it. That's not coming, I just attack from the front and don't ask questions and nothing. Do you hear? Yeah.
I think it's helped push us in a direction where we're more accepting of each other, regardless of sexuality, religion, and race.
We need to consider how we are more similar than we are different. And it's not your fight is my fight, it's just all of our fight.
We have to be kind to one another in order to get rid of this deep hatred that is in America.
We're not free until we're all free.
This is backwards. At 63, I thought the chains were broken and released. But what about all my brothers in penitentiaries? We'll be floating in oceans before we notice. We're headed for disaster. Oh, say, can you see?